Well, that leads to Roger, I know you get blamed for everything, but aside from the just blame, from the hosting side, how does the infrastructure and server setup impact core web vitals? And what can a managed hosting provider do that a business can't just achieve on their own?
Yeah, so it's a really great question. I think, the interesting thing with Core Web Vitals and the improvement I feel with these over the page speed test, right? The 0 to 100 score, that for everything with Core Web Vitals, it really helps you look at how is the user experiencing the site, not just, hey, am I hitting 100 on my score or something? And so from a hosting perspective, I think the most important thing for people to look at is the largest contentful paint, right? Is how quickly it's loading, and so TTFB, or time to first byte, is the number that you're looking at in that, and that's really where the host has like the most impact. And so that's where the browser makes a request to the website, and then how soon is the website starting to send traffic back, and the host has direct impact on that. That's how the infrastructure is set up, how the web server is optimized, and the database and everything. And so making sure that that number is really, really small. Google is currently telling us like 200 milliseconds is kind of where you want to be shooting for, if not faster. And so a managed host comes in and can really help to optimize and making sure that that TTFB is happening really quickly. And then, like I said, with the other things, the web server at Kinsta, we use Nginx. There's others out there. We like the performance of Nginx, and we've tuned that specifically for WordPress so that it's working very quickly and efficiently. And then also with database optimizations and things like that. So that's really where you want your host to be focusing on, is making sure that those components are all set up and optimized. And then obviously, using fast compute. We're on Google Cloud, and really making sure that things are moving very quickly for you. And then adding in other things that we're going to talk about, I'm sure, is caching layers and CDN, and making sure that all of those things are up and working. And one thing I just want to go back just for a second on the user experience thing. Jacob Nielsen, of course, everybody's favorite person when it comes to user experience, they pointed out years ago that when they talk to users about past experiences of a website, what does the user kind of think about? Oh, hey, how was that experience? Site speed is something that immediately comes up, and so your site speed becomes part of your branding. And I think that that's a really important thing for marketers and other non-technical people to be thinking about. Users are noticing this, and it's staying with them.
Yeah, it's basically your first, essentially it's your first impression or your longest lasting impression to a brand, where if their website and content is loading slow, you make a lot of assumptions, I feel like. Like unless it's a known brand, they're allowed to have issues for some reason, even though they really shouldn't. But like if apple.com gets slow for a few weeks, no one really cares. But, if some brand new electronic company is displaying and they're getting a lot of traffic and they're, whatever, everyone's going to know that. And everyone's going to remember that, well, if that's a problem, then what are the other problems that they're having?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So to kind of break the misconception, we're jokingly talking about the blaming hosting provider solely or developer solely. It's really the collaborative effort of the team to make sure the developers optimize the code and content while hosting provider ensures the infrastructure can deliver it quickly, right?
For sure.
Yeah, if the hosting provider doesn't have the tools that the developer needs, that's a problem. And just vice versa. If the developer put in all the bloated theme plugin logic, and it's truly because the host can only get there so far, essentially. Like it's the baseline. So you have to get to that point, but then everything on top of that is really on the developer or the person that's putting the site together.